Hello everyone. In this short tutorial, I'm going to show you how to do some really interesting stuff using Tableau, specifically data sets where you have spatial information about geographic location of certain things that are happening. How can you visualize that using Tableau, and what are the type of insights that you can get from this type of a data? So for the purpose of this demonstration, the data set that I have is called Uber sample, and this data set is about the rides that were taken on the Uber taxi company in New York City. And each observation in this data set is a specific ride that happened. Where did it happen? This is the latitude and the longitude representing the geographic location. Then whether it was a weekend or a weekday, what was the time of the when the journey happened, whether it was morning, evening, night time, on what was the precipitation level, and a couple of other information related to when the taxi ride happened. So we are going to very quickly use Tableau and create some very beautiful visualization using this data set. More specifically, we want insights about when are the rides happening, when are the maximum rides happening, what are the trends over the weekends, what are the trends over the weekdays, as some examples. So let's get started. I'll go here and open a new worksheet. So the first thing that you have to note here is that you see that this latitude and longitude, both these variables have this little globe next to that. So this basically says that Tableau has recognized these as geographic variables, and each of them have a geographic role assigned to them, which you can go in here and check that the first one is represented as a latitude right here. The second one is represented as a longitude, which you can check the geographic role is being correctly assigned. This is automatically done by Tableau. So what we are going to do is we will try and plot a map as the base of our analysis to start with. So in order to do that, what you need to do is you need to drag and drop the longitude in the columns, and you need to drag and drop the latitude in the rows. Now remember, right now here you have this average that's happening, so this is a summation that we are not interested in. What we want is each specific longitude and latitude as a point to be mapped on this specific map of New York City, and not take the average of it. So what we are going to do is we'll go up right here in analysis and switch off aggregate measures. Once you've done that, you will see that longitude, latitude will be the average will go away, and all these points are then mapped over the the map of New York City. Now what we could do to make this map a little bit more readable is reduce the size of these dots. Now remember, each dot represents a taxi ride that happened, and we'll just zoom in a little bit to focus on the map of New York City, which you can see right here is Manhattan. Okay, so now we are going to do a couple of interesting things with this data set. The first thing that we want to do is I want to see what rides happened over the weekend versus over the weekdays. So there is this dimension here which says weekend, and I'm going to just quickly drag it and drop it into the color variable, and that you will see some of the points are now shown in this orange color, which is saying that these are weekend rides and the other ones are weekday rides. So this is insightful to the extent that it's telling you that obviously more rides happen during the weekdays when people are taking taxis to go to work. On weekends, the taxi which people take is mostly for going out for dinners, for leisurely entertainment purposes, stuff like that. But now we are going to add on certain other visualizations to make this exercise more insightful. So let's do this. Let's go to another sheet. I've opened a new sheet here, and what I want to do is I want to look at the trends of the taxis that are being taken over the hours of the day. So let's do that. I have a variable here which says time. I'm going to drag it and drop it into the column variable here. Now this right now is getting summed. Okay, so to get rid of that summation, I'm going to identify that as a dimension, and the next thing that I'm going to do is I will drag and drop the number of records in the rows. So you can see that on the x-axis we have these times which are represented on a scale of 0 to 24, and on the y-axis we have the total number of taxi rides that happen at a specific time. So let's do a few quick things with this visualization to make it a little bit more easy to read. So what I'm going to do first is I will just click on this axis, and I'm going to say edit axis. I will say fixed, and I don't want minus values there. I will restrict it to a valid valid time range of 0 to 24. This is an hourly time right now, and we're going to say apply, and I will say okay. The other thing that I want to do is I just want to change this into a bar chart here. So there are some things which are definitely coming out here. Basically, you see that there is a rise in the number of rides which happen at the the morning hours, starting from 6 o'clock to 8 o'clock, and also you see there is a peak around around 4 o'clock, 5 o'clock and 6 o'clock. So one thing that you have to see is, if I had this Uber information from Singapore, the peaks would have definitely been at a different time span versus in New York, in US, people start their days very early, which you can see here right from 6 o'clock. You see this spike in the number of taxis which are being taken. So in order to increase the number of the information that we get from this chart, let's add the variable weekend into the color. Once you do that, you will see that it quickly separates out it separates out the chart, each of the bars, by the weekend, whether which is represented in orange color, and weekday, which is represented in blue color. Another thing that I want to do here is also to teach you how to create filters and how can you really use them. So what I'm going to do is, I will go here, I will pick up the weekend variable, I will drag and drop in the filter bucket, and I'm going to say all here and just say apply. Okay, so here you will see that in the filter tab, you will get this weekend variable which is represented right here. Then I'm going to click on the drop down and then select show quick filter. Once I do that, this little filter shows up here, and the other thing that I want to do is, you can just quickly remove this. You can select false and just see that this is the information for of the number of rides being taken over the weekend, and the spikes are pretty different. As you see, they're pretty low early in the morning, and then they start rising during the day. That's the pattern of people going out, leaving the house on a weekend. Nobody wants to leave at at a work hour of like 5 o'clock or 6 o'clock. So this is when people start taking rides, and it obviously increases during dinner time. That's when people go out hunting restaurants to get dinner. So you could even just look at what happens on a weekday, which is the trend that we already discussed, which is obviously the overpowering trend, because the number of rides over the weekdays are definitely more than which are being taken over the weekend. So once we have done this, then the third thing that I want to show you before I move on, I want to label these these sheets so that we know what is in there. I've labeled one as a map, the other one I'm going to label as time and weekend information. Now what I will do is, I will create a dashboard, and you will see that here there are these icons. The one that shows these 4 boxes out here is a new dashboard. I'm going to click on that and get a dashboard started here. Now when you create this dashboard, you will see that our sheets are represented here. I'm going to drag and drop the chart which was labeled time and weekend. I'm going to get it right here, and you will see that the chart shows up here. Next, I'm going to drag and drop the maps chart and put it below the below the other map, below the other chart that I had just dropped. So you see in this dashboard, basically you have both of these charts right here, and basically you could do a couple of things here. What ideally you would want is that if I select false here, which means I'm interested in looking at the rides which happen on a weekday, then what I want is that the maps chart should also get filtered accordingly. So in order to do that, we need to make a quick change to the filter that we made in our sheet. So I'm going to go back to the time and weekend chart here, and I'm going to click on this filter drop down, and here I will say apply to all worksheets using this data source. Once you've done this, then you see what we wanted is very easily achieved. Now here, if I remove the filters for certain categories, if I say that I'm only interested in looking at the rides which happen over the weekday, then basically both the map and the bar chart gets updated to show me that. At the same time, I could select the rides that happen over the weekend, and you see then I only see the rides, the corresponding rides on the map as well. So basically we've learned a couple of interesting things. Just to summarize, this video was a little bit longer than I wanted it to be, but quickly to summarize, basically you now know how to create a map visualization using Tableau. You also know how to create a filter on a specific sheet, and you also know how to create a global filter where the filter gets applied to all the workbooks and all the dashboards using a specific data variable. Okay, so keep practicing. Practicing makes you perfect, and see you all soon. Thanks.